Hello everybody, it's a beautiful day here at the beautiful school of RLJ CDL Services. Give us a call, we'd love to teach you how to drive semi-truck. We've got a beautiful facility, we can teach you in-cab inspections, all this stuff inside the building. Our backing lot is amazing, we take you through the city, and also did I mention that we have a beautiful lake view. Okay, with that said, I'm going to do section B of the test. Okay, so section B starts from here on over. Okay, section B. All right, here we go. Give us a call. Okay, so what I want to do right away is I'm going to check my mirrors. All right, okay, my mirrors are securely mounted, they're clean, not cracked. All right, and there's no chips. Okay, so I'm looking at my mirrors securely mounted. I'm looking at my windshield, my window right there. It is it's securely mounted, sealed all the way around. There's no cracks or chips, no illegal stickers. Okay, I'm looking at my door seal. Okay, there's a proper reveal all the way around my door seal. It's sealed properly. It's not bent, so nothing's exposed, and it's securely mounted. All right, my door handle. Okay, it opens properly. The latch is securely mounted. It's working properly. All right. And I want to look inside. I'm looking at the seal around my door. Okay, I'm looking all the way around. I don't want any holes. It's not like ripped off, hanging off. There's no indication that water will be leaking through. All right, no cuts. So then after that, what you want to do is you want to look at your door hinges. Okay, you got a hinge here. Sometimes you have two hinges. Okay, you got hinges down here. You can see those. All right, you want to make sure those aren't bent or cracked. They're securely mounted. All right, and they're in proper working order. Okay, I want to make sure that my window rolls up, rolls down. My door lock, it locks, and then it unlocks, just like that. Okay, and also I want to make sure that my door closes and shuts properly. All right, so now we're moving on. We're looking at our steps. Okay, our steps are securely mounted. They're not bent. They're free from debris like ice or grease. Okay, you want to make sure they're securely mounted. Give it a little kick-a-rooney. All right, so then I'm moving on to my fuel tank. Okay, my fuel tank is securely mounted. There's no dents. It's not leaking any fuel. The cap is on tight. It's in the lock position. Okay, if I want to open it, you push down, twist. Okay, you want to make sure that your cap has a safety chain on here. Okay, there is a rubber membrane on the inside of the cap. You want to make sure that's not cut. There's no holes. It's free from debris. All right, you don't want to be leaking any fuel. All right, that's where your fuel goes, everybody. Okay, so to put it on, push, twist, there you go. Okay, my fuel straps, they're insulated properly, okay? They're securely mounted to the frame. All right, there's no cracks. It's not missing any hardware, and it's insulated, okay? Not leaking any fuel. All right, so then it comes to the back of my truck, all right? So my back of the truck, the reflectors are securely mounted. They do reflect. It's not missing any hardware, and there's no cracks or chips. Okay, looking at the back of my truck, I'm not missing any rivets. All right, there's no holes, no major dents. I'm looking at the back of my window. Okay, so it's sealed properly. There's no cracks or chips. All right, and it's clean. And then this is your coupling light. So when you're coupling to a trailer, you can turn that on. It's securely mounted, not cracked, not missing any hardware, and there's no white paint on it. Also, I want to look at these are my Glad hands. This is my Glad hand holder here, okay? My Glad hand mount. It's securely mounted. There's no cracks. It's not missing any hardware. Yeah, and that's good with that. So after that, you want to move on to my exhaust. So you can climb up on your catwalk. Okay, grab your exhaust. Make sure that it's securely mounted. Shake it. Okay, there's no cuts, no holes. It's not leaking any soot, okay? Soot is like that nasty stuff, like smoke, soot, you get it. All right, you want to get up there, you actually want to shake it. You want to make sure that it's securely mounted, all right? So then I move on. Okay, move on to my catwalk here. Okay, my catwalk, there's no significant holes. It's securely mounted. It's not bent. It's free from debris like grease or ice. This is your catwalk, all right? Then I move on to my drive shaft. Okay, my drive shaft, it's not bent. It's securely mounted on both ends. There's no cracks in it, okay? I want to talk about my U-joints to my drive shaft. My U-joint, not missing any hardware. Okay, it's not bent. There's no debris in it. It looks like it's in proper working order. All right. Oh, there's my air tank too. Okay, so, and then also here's my battery box as well, securely mounted. Okay, both of them securely mounted. You don't have to talk about that on the test, but we're moving on from there. Okay. So after I talk about my drive shaft, my U-joints, I want to talk about my frame back here. You got to talk about your frame. There's no illegal welds. It's not bent. No illegal holes drilled, okay? All right, so after I do those components, I kind of move back to my coupling system, okay? So I want to talk about my airlines. My airlines, my red one is my emergency airline. My blue one is my service airline. My green one is my electrical line, okay? So I want to take a look. They're securely mounted on both ends. Okay, I want to look through each line. I want to make sure there's no signs of cutting, no cuts, no bulges. I don't hear any air leaking if the system is charged. And I want to look all the way through. Okay, securely mounted. I want to make sure there's no rubbing. Okay, you actually want to shake these babies around, because when you're driving, it's going to get windy out there, and the last thing you want to do is have your glad hands pop off, okay? My electrical line, the safety latch right there, you can see that little safety latch is in position, okay? It's in the lock position. There's no cuts. It's securely mounted on both ends, and I don't see any exposed copper, okay? So I look through my lines. I want to talk about my airline springs are securely mounted. There's no indication of damage, and they have enough tension so I don't have my lines dragging on the catwalk. My glad hands, okay? The reason they call these glad hands is because you will be very unhappy if these disconnect from your trailer while you're driving, okay? My glad hands are properly mounted. The rubber seals on the inside, they're not cut. There's no dry rot, okay, and it's free from debris. So to put one of these on, you push down like that. You go hole to hole, just like this. You want to make sure that tip goes on the inside. You push down. You want to make sure it's securely mounted, just like that. Same with the blue one, okay? The safety latch is in the lock position, all right? Securely mounted, no cracks, okay? Rubber on the inside here is intact, like we talked about earlier. My electrical box securely mounted to the trailer, not missing any hardware, no cracks, and it's sealed properly for moisture. All right, and this is where I get my bills, okay? I want to make sure the cap's on tight, it's not cracked, and it's securely mounted. All right, so then what I want to do is I move on to my apron, okay? My apron underneath here is so this is my apron. I want to make sure that there's no major signs of rust. It's securely mounted to the frame or to the trailer. There's no big holes in it, all right? Then after that, I want to move on to my fifth wheel, all right? My fifth wheel, there's no gap. There's no gap between the apron and the fifth wheel. It's in the proper position. When I inspected it earlier, the skid plate on top of your fifth wheel was properly greased. There was no debris, and the skid plate was securely mounted on the fifth wheel. All right. So I want to talk about my release handle. My release handle is in the lock position, which is pushed in. Okay, it's not bent. There's no debris back there, and it's securely mounted, not missing any hardware. So this is my fifth wheel platform right here. From here, it goes all the way there. Okay, you want to talk about your fifth wheel platform. Okay, it's securely mounted. It's not bent. There's no cracks in it. Securely mounted to the frame. I've got my pivot pin. My pivot pin bolt are in place. Okay, so when this pivot pin allows the fifth wheel to adjust back and forth and keeps it securely mounted. Okay, then my mounting bolts. I want to talk about my mounting bolts. They're all in place. They're securely mounted. There's no cracked. None of them are cracked. There's no shiny silver metal, which would indicate damage. All right. So then after that, I kind of keep going with my coupling. So after I talk about that, I want to get a stick or something, or I point up in the fifth wheel. I tell them that I would look in the fifth wheel, and I would want to make sure that my kingpin and my lockjaw are in the lock position. I would check my kingpin before I back underneath the trailer. Okay, so you don't want to crawl underneath during the test, but you can see this. Oops, that's your lockjaw. Your kingpin is locked within the lockjaw. Okay, you would check your lockjaw before you back in, and you want to make sure that it wouldn't be bent. It's not bent. It's securely mounted. It's not cracked. It's free from debris. Okay, and then you say, I would check my lockjaw. I want to make sure my lockjaw is in the lock position. There's no cracks. It's securely mounted and it's free from debris. Okay, so then I move on. Oops, sorry about that. I move on to the space here. So I do the space between my drive tire and my mud flap. I want to make sure there's a proper amount of space between those two items. Okay, so when the truck turns, it's not going to bash in to the landing gear and damage the landing gear or your tire. Okay, so then I come back over here and I want to talk about my suspension system. Okay, so I talk about my suspension system. This is my spring leaf mount, securely mounted to the frame, not missing any hardware. It's not bent. Okay, it's free from debris. All right, then after that, I want to talk about my spring leaf. Okay, it's right here. It's no scissoring, no more than 25% damage. Okay, it's securely mounted on both ends. Okay, and it's not cracked. My rubber bushings are intact. Okay, in here. Also, you want to talk about your U-bolts. Your U-bolts are not missing any hardware. Okay, those are your U-bolts. I'm not missing any U-bolts. They're not cracked or dented. All right, and then I want to talk about my shock absorber. Okay, my shock absorber is securely mounted. And you can all see all of that stuff. You don't want to get underneath the truck. You want to do it right from here. See my glad hands? Go right underneath. I can see everything I need to see. Hold on. I can see everything I need to see right here. Okay. And then I got, so my shock absorber right here. Okay, it's securely mounted on both ends. All right. My rubber bushings are intact. It's not leaking anything. All right, and then behind that you can see your airbag. Okay, your airbag is right there. I'll show you right here. Okay, that's your airbag. It's securely mounted. It's not cut. It's not leaking any air. It's not flat. All right, so that's your entire suspension. Then after that, what you want to do is talk about your brake system. Okay, so your brake system. So we're coming back to the same spot right here. You can see it all right here. Okay, so you're talking about your brake chamber right here. Okay, so that's securely mounted. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about our air lines in our electrical lines first, because you can see your air line connected to your brake chamber. Okay, all of my air lines back here are securely mounted on both ends. There's no cuts, no rubbing, and I can't hear any air leaking. You also want to talk about all your electrical lines too. You can see one right there. All my electrical lines are securely mounted on both ends. They're not cut. I don't see any copper wire exposed. Okay, then you go to your brake chamber. Okay, my brake chamber is securely mounted. It's not leaking any air. The C-clamp is in place. It's not missing any hardware. All right. So then after that, what you want to do is you can see your well, I can do it from this side too, because it's just kind of hard to see with the camera here. Okay, so there's your brake chamber. There's your brake chamber push rod and slack adjuster, okay? Right there. You want to make sure that your push rod and your slack adjuster, you have no more than 1 inch of play. They're securely mounted. They're not bent or cracked. All right. So then, after you do that, you want to talk about your brakes, okay? So you can see here, there's your brake pad, okay? It's the one on the top there. No more than 1/4 inch, no less than 1/4 inch on your brake pad, securely mounted, not missing any brake pads, no cracks, okay, free from debris. All right, then after that, you're looking at your brake drum right here. Brake pad, brake drum. The brake drum's not blue in color. There's no rust on the inside, which would mean there's not a proper connection to your with your brake pad and your brake drum. There's no oil on the inside, which would mean that your hub seal could be broken, and it's not blue in color, which would mean that it would overheat. All right. Then you talk about your inner rim. Okay, your inner rim, no illegal welds, no illegal holes, securely mounted. The bead is securely mounted all the way around the rim, the tire bead. Okay. Then after that, you talk about the inner tire. No bulges, no cuts, no nails. All right. So you can see that all easily from this area right here. Then after that, you want to come to your tires, all right? So you did the inner tire over here. It's called cross-referencing. You don't really want to get underneath the truck during a test unless your wheels are chalked, okay? They don't really like it. So anyways, we're talking about our drive tires tread depth, okay? No less than 2/32 of tread on your drive tires, okay? You want to make sure that there's no uneven wear, no nails. I don't see any wires exposed. Then you can talk about your inner rims. Your inner rims have a proper connection, okay? They're both securely mounted to each other. There's no gaps, no illegal welds, no illegal holes, all right? You can see a valve stem there to one of the tires. Then you want to talk about both your inner tires, okay? They're not there's no bulging, they're not rubbing, there's no nails, there's no debris in between the two tires, okay? After that, what you want to do is come out here, talk about your outer tire. No bulges, no nails, no cuts, not leaking any air. You can see your tire, your PSI for your tires right here. This one is 110 PSI when it's cold. All right, no dry rot. And these can be a recap tire. You can see how this tire here, the tread was cut off and they glue them back on. All right, so then you go to your valve stems, okay? You've got one here, and then you've got one here too. You got one for each tire. My valve stems, they both are not bent. They're not cracked. I don't hear any leaking air on either one of them, and they have caps on them. All right, then I go to my rim. No illegal welds, no illegal holes. It's not bent. Securely mounted to the tire. Okay, my lug nuts. All of my lug nuts are intact. None of them are cracked. There's no gap between the lug nut and the rim. No major signs of rust, which would indicate moisture getting behind the lug nut. And then you want to make sure that all of them are securely mounted. All right. My hub seal, you want to make sure it's not missing any hardware. These lug nuts are all securely mounted. That I'm not leaking any oil. It's not cracked. And if I would have to have a certified mechanic to check this as well. Okay. So then we move on to behind the truck here. Okay, we talk about our mud flap. It's securely mounted, not missing any hardware. It's not ripped, has proper clearance. 8 inches from the tire. 8 inches from the tire, 6 inches from the ground. Okay, I have 100% DOT reflective tape on the back of my trailer. Okay, these are my brake lights, my blinkers, and my four-ways for the back of my truck. They're all securely mounted. None of them are cracked, and they're not foggy. This is my reverse light right here. It's white in color, securely mounted, not cracked, not foggy. Right down here is also your license plate light. It's securely mounted. It's securely mounted, not cracked or foggy. Okay, so then when you're done with that, like I said before, you want to make sure that you have proper clearance between your truck and your landing gear, and that completes the section B for your test. Okay, good luck out there. If you want to come to our school, we go much further in depth. We love teaching people how to drive, and give us a call because we'll get you in hopefully tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.